Now let's get going, folks, and we'll begin like we will every day here on Menzoid Mornings with something that's really grinding my gears. Time now for the Menzoid Monologue. Well, I'll be a son of a gun. If you're in the Durham, Ontario area, you may have noticed some red and white signs that read Durham for Vets, accompanied with a Liberal Party of Canada logo. The art on the signage and the Durham for Vets website makes use of a silhouette of a Canadian soldier. Alas, if you thought this was a website that raised money for veterans, you are sadly, albeit understandably, mistaken. Indeed, as first exposed on this network by Charles Adler, aka the boss of talk, Durham for Vets isn't what many people might think it is. For example, just pay a visit to the durhamforvets.org website, which claims to support the rights of veterans. But as you scroll down the homepage, something just doesn't feel right. Namely, the website is jam-packed with negative media coverage, specifically targeting the Conservatives and the NDP. Interesting. But even more compelling is that when a visitor hits the quick click on the donation page, you are cordially invited to make a donation not to Canada's war veterans, but to the Grant Humes Campaign Fund. Gee, what war did Liberal candidate Grant Humes fight in? None that we know of. Rather, there is a by-election campaign in Durham, Ontario, and, well, this Liberal candidate is none other than, well, Grant Humes. Wow! They say war is hell, but the hellacious nature of warfare has nothing over gutter politics, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, only after Sun Media drew attention to this flagrant exploitation of our veterans did the site rejig. Well, kinda. The website now features a tiny font brandishing some legalese about Elections Canada, and then a barely noticeable link to a real veterans charity. Gee, thanks, Mr. Humes, for being at least a little bit transparent. But what makes this website so odious, folks, is that if any one party has truly kneecapped the Canadian military in recent decades, it is most certainly the Liberals. Let's begin with Trudeau the First, who had nothing but contempt for our armed forces. Pierre's initial blow to the Army, Navy and Air Force took place in the late 60s when he reorganized Canada's military services. Reorganized, by the way, is code speak for demoralizing budget cuts. The carnage only continued under Jean Chrétien. Under the Mulroney government, new choppers had been purchased to replace the aging Sea King death traps, but Chrétien canceled the contract, putting our troops at great risk and danger because of outdated equipment. Oh, and by the way, the cost of canceling the contract, a mere $500 million for nothing. Wow, your tax dollars hard at work yet again, folks. And let's not forget how in 2002, the first Canadian soldiers deployed to Afghanistan were equipped with green camouflage uniforms. Yeah, that's right, folks. They were sent to a desert environment wearing uniforms best suited for jungle warfare in Vietnam. Can you say sitting duck? And then in 2006, when a desperate Paul Martin was running for Prime Minister and the Liberal spinmeisters created the Soldiers in Our Streets attack ad against Stephen Harper, well, this ad surely has the rank as one of the most odious and outrageous slurs in the history of Canadian politics. Just check out this preposterous propaganda that actually vilified our men and women in uniform at a time when these people were putting their lives on the line overseas.
Stephen Harper actually announced he wants to increase military presence in our cities, Canadian cities. Soldiers with guns in our cities, in Canada. We did not make this up. Choose your Canada.
Wow. How low can you go? Using our brave soldiers as fake boogeymen to scare Canadians away from the supposed totalitarian dictator Harper in favor of Mr. Dithers? Nothing but a lie wrapped in a falsehood slathered in malicious propaganda, folks. Little wonder the Canadian people booted Dithers from office. In fact, with brainpower like that driving Liberal Party policy, is it any wonder the Liberals aren't even the official opposition anymore? And What does the Liberal leader awaiting coronation have to say about one of his cronies using veterans this way? Amazing, the second coming of Trudeau, aka Justin, actually supports Hume's reprehensible campaign. Instead of condemning it, he recently used the opportunity to bash Harper. And all this despite the fact that Justin's dismissive daddykins did more damage to the military than any other man in Canadian history. Now, that's chutzpah. Meanwhile, Humes himself remains unapologetic in email correspondence with a Sun News viewer complaining about the Durham for Vets scam. Humes responds, Sun TV certainly has an objective, impartial, and unbiased approach to news. I believe this is called shooting the messenger, folks. Sorry, Mr. Humes, but your bait and switch fundraising tactics at the expense of the veterans is beyond the pale. Let's just hope the good people of Durham remember your sleazy tactics come Election Day next Monday. And that's the Menzoid Monologue.